From where hurricanes come. We like to think that each hurricane is different. We give them categories 1 through 5, like that will actually tell us something. We go through the alphabet for names, A to Z, male to female, then back again. We try to make each big bad storm all about our tiny, but somehow still important struggles. That's okay. It's not true, but that's okay. It's not true because each hurricane is really the same. I'm talking about the eye of each hurricane. In the center, past the irises and irmas, smack dab in the pupil, is an Atlantean passing through our world. Yes, an Atlantean from the lost city of Atlantis. No, Atlantis didn't sink or go extinct. The city simply moved on, beyond, and along, but not really up or down or around. It's difficult to give a direction to something advancing past human. Let's just say that the Atlanteans inhabit a different dimension. Dimensions, really. Sometimes one comes back to Earth to get in touch with its roots. That's why we have hurricanes. Don't laugh. Traveling between dimensions is serious business. If you tried to do it, you'd probably start an interstellar war or at least misplace Venus. But an Atlantean only makes a hurricane. Plus, there are benefits to having the occasional Atlantean visit your world. Have you ever encountered someone who wears way too much cologne? You can smell them 2 streets down before you see them. Atlanteans are like that, except with power and knowledge instead of cologne. They ooze ideas and we hang on to their coattails after each storm. Here's a fun fact. Even though Maria has knocked out the Wi-Fi, we wouldn't even have Wi-Fi if it weren't for this one hurricane back in the 90s. Now most Atlanteans are fairly decent at heart, but the one who tried to poke its head through Maria's eye over Puerto Rico wasn't so great. This Atlantean used to be the director of the Universe Conservation League, which is a little like our own environmental protection agency. The UCL does stuff like preserving parallel realities and freeing moon whales who have become quantum entangled. Normally it's a good agency, but this director was pretending to conserve dimensions while stealing them instead, embezzling, M-dimensionalizing. What was his name? It was Sneep boo 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 cup. Can it be shorter? Yeah, his friends call him Sneeboo, although anyone who wanted to be friends with the guy was probably a jerk. Anyway, Sneeboo was stealing dimensions as the director of the UCL, but he finally got caught. He didn't want to give up all that M-dimensionalized merchandise, so he needed to find a sort of offshore bank account. That's why he came to Puerto Rico through Hurricane Maria. He wanted to dump all those dimensions here. When someone says, hey, that added another dimension to my life, it's usually a positive, but dimensions with an S spinning through our lives, the world as we know it would cease to exist. We saw the beginnings of that, when sailboats walked on land and sheet metal sailed through air. But it could have been worse. Our voices, our feet, our faces could have gone so jumbled up that our ability to communicate, to keep moving forward, to recognize each other as human beings, could have been consumed by chaos. All that to enrich one Atlantean. Luckily, entering our world through the eye of a hurricane requires intense concentration. And there was at least one voice calling out despite the whirlwinds. That voice must have been enough to interrupt Sneeboo as he was poking his Atlantean snout out through the Atlantic. Enough to keep him from making that final transaction over Puerto Rico. I heard that voice still calling when I went to check out the damage after the eye of Maria had left San Juan. A zinc roof from the neighboring apartment building had fallen on and collapsed the roof of our building's laundry room, after narrowly missing a couple of leaky propane tanks that had been left outside our bathroom window by a forgetful business owner. The voice came from that wreckage. Yes, it was that voice that had distracted Sneeboo and kept Maria from turning the island completely upside down. It was a single coqui frog that we share with a neighboring apartment building. In better weather, I would mimic its call. A neighbor from the other building would do the same. I suspect our coqui sometimes took a break, letting me and the unseen neighbor call out to each other in a language we didn't really understand. On the day after Maria, I saw our coqui for the first time. It was simply a small light brown frog that's native to Puerto Rico. a frog whose throat and stomach undulated while it chirped its name. In the weeks after Maria, our Coquille fell silent. As for the power and knowledge left behind by an Atlantean in the wake of a hurricane, I don't know, but mucha gente está afuera. I see more people walking dogs they forget they had. I wait in lines with neighbors I never knew existed. My girlfriend and I have romantic candlelit dinners after she discovers that the candles can be used to heat our soup. Strangest of all to me, I stop wasting time and actually finish something. The Coquille won't stay silent forever, and when they make their call again, I hope that we don't shut ourselves inside, tune them out, and return to our old ways. I hope their call sounds like a rediscovery, like leftover power and knowledge from the lost city of Atlantis, echoing across our island.